Hi, my name is Simon Adams. I'm currently a senior here at Delta State University. I'm majoring in audio engineer in the DMI Delta State Music Institute program. And I'll be answering a few questions here today about my journey. My journey to audio engineering was a quite interesting one. I never was really the kind to be like, I want to be an audio engineer. I did look into doing music and recording music, but to actually say, I wanted to be an audio engineer was never something that really crossed my mind. What pushed me to become an audio engineer was because I could not find one locally in town. So it was like a place where I had to take matters into my own hand and say, learn how to do this. So which that led to 4+ years of me trying to figure it out. I started learning how to be an audio engineer around 2019. So from 2019, excuse me, to 2025, uh, it's had its ups and downs. So what sparked it, really, in hindsight, was my dad. Growing up, my dad was the sound engineer for my uncle's church. I remember coming to the back of the church, seeing him behind the big mixing console, wanting to know what button was this and how do you do this and that. And it intrigued me as a child. And now that I do, audio engineering full time, and I also run sound back home at my church, it kind of see the parallelism, of seeing where that all sparked and began. Some of the biggest challenges I've faced in a recording session is when things go wrong, whether that be on the technological side or when some conflicts arise and when you sometimes disagree with the artist and they want to go a direction that it may sound good up front, but because they do not understand the side of it on the engineering side, it's trying to find that common ground of, hey, both people can walk away with what they want. Um, Overcoming it on the technological side is to remain calm, even in both situations, during a conflict or during when something messes up in the studio. Remain calm. Never be the person that wants to lose it or throw a fit, because when you have a blow up like that, you could probably lose that client forever. Being professional will always help you in every situation. Some equipment and software I believe is very essential for an audio engineer. One is a very good MacBook. No offense to any Windows users. I believe as long as you have a computer that has the right specs on it, that's powerful enough to carry out what you're trying to do, you should be just fine. Um, do not try to be cheap. Only be cheap if you're going to get the right specs. I remember I ended up always get my MacBooks, not the latest version, but a few years behind, but I usually have them with the right specs that I need to carry out what I need to do during sessions. And some software, essential software, I believe audio engineers need. Uh, Definitely a good DAW. For me personally, that will be Pro Tools. But for you, it may be Logic or maybe Ableton or FL, whichever one. Get one that you can work in remotely very well and that you can easily navigate through. A project that stands out to me that was very challenging or rewarding was it was my first client that reached out to me for my mixing and mastering service. Her name is Charity Rose, and shout out to her and her team for her single called Refuge, which is out now on all platforms. You guys can go check that out. It was very challenging for me because I was doing something that I never really had done before. Charity Rose, she's a gospel artist, and so she does gospel music. Though I've grown up in the church, mixing gospel music in a professional, releasable version was something I wasn't really accustomed to. So it was going out, doing my research on, okay, how do you want this single to sound? What are certain elements you want? That was different things that I had to actually do research on. So when trying new things, it's always scary, but knowing how to overcome it is just realizing, okay, you can do this. You're an audio engineer, you're a mixing engineer for a reason. And it was very rewarding because it felt like finally, like someone's finally giving me a shot in this industry. So it was very rewarding for that. So advice I would give to anyone trying to get into this industry, particularly audio engineers, would be prepare to work. Be prepared to spend a lot of hours And a lot of times it may seem like those hours are for nothing, but I guarantee you it pays off. Just because people are giving someone else attention for doing the same thing you're doing doesn't mean that they're better than you, doesn't mean that you're not making it. It just means it's not your time yet. And when it is your time, know how to act in the spotlight. Don't be arrogant, don't be a know it all. Don't forget where you came from. Always be willing to pass that torch. So, and yes, while you may receive millions of no's, there are going to be no's. There are going to be people who are going to ghost you, going to think you're crazy. But always remain consistent and be willing